can have the world under your control. Let me protect you from a dying soul. From a dying soul. You can have the world under your control.
Ain't no holding me back. Ain't no pulling me down. Ain't no knocking me down. Ain't no taking me down. I'm lightning fast.
As we have one flanking player from the G side. Now they pincered the site from two sides, but one of the other Gs just falls way too fast. Now it's just a 1v1. He rushes sandbags, but he pays for it. Seth Moss catches him out. Just on Blake.
Chip with the 1D from Connector.
Take cover beneath the stars, white candles and cherry wine. A mirror and you the glass, 'cause baby we are the night. Make whispers beneath our heels, my excuse is your alibi. Held ransom to how we feel, 'cause baby we are the night. The lights go off, it sparks a drumming in my heart. It's fell too much.
I got a feeling that we're running out of time, so I'll hold you closer now to make things right. Won't let you fall behind. Just keep running from those who doubt this love. Nobody can stop us. Nobody can stop us now.
And we are live. The second last game of this entire tournament. We've gone through 50 teams, and now we are here in the semifinals. And one team already made it through, and now just these two have to compete against each other in order to find out who is the best of the best, or the second best of the best. AbsoluteStuds winning against the previous team in triple overtime, quadruple overtime, maybe even. Both these T's rushing fast, but VODs with a quick headshot against that one T. There's Higgins losing fast, and now it's just Braden Higgins left, and he gets one tap by VODs as well. 2 headshots as they just ran out onto the site. Now both of these CTs, AbsoluteStuds, having to go through the gauntlet last game. Just endless overtimes, endless suffering, and it was a best 2 out of 3 in the third game as well that they had to clutch both of those overtimes. And no matter how many times they were placed T-side on Nuke, they just kept fighting back, and eventually they won it all. And now they're left against MauVe, which MauVe is changing their names occasionally every tournament, so I can't really say how consistent those two players are. They catch them while they're boosting. Braden Higgins getting caught out on the left side, getting shredded by the UMP, but that other player might get the trade. MauVe falling down. Now Marcus Higgins with the profile picture of Not, the Chancellor of Germany, almost taking out VODs with a quick headshot with the UMP. Focusing in on it, but the spray did not hit him. Now AbsoluteStuds with another second round. But both of the players on AbsoluteStuds are quite balanced, and they used their balance to beat the other team that they faced on Nuke.
As VODs and MauVe had their fair share of 1v2s in that match, and we saw VODs with just a 1v1 there, and he's been doing it countless times before and countless times since. And Braden Higgins having to set up this smoke over the site. He's going to be rushing this lower tunnels area, but VODs pushed up all the way. He's not going to be expecting it. He's on the other side, and he's just not looking the right way. The AK doesn't even get one shot off on him. And Marcus Higgins left in a 1v1 as he took out MauVe as he was around the corner. The AK peeking as he's just spraying through the smoke, and Marcus Higgins gets caught out in the open, getting shredded by the AK. He hid in the smoke, waited for him to spray, and then just peeked out when his spray was all disjointed. And VODs and MauVe again, enough money to buy whatever the hell they want. They got AKs and they got M4s. And it looks like VODs sticking with that AK, and both of these Ts now reduced to P250s. They've been trying both positions, and yet they get killed in trades every single time that they rush out. And Braden Higgins now getting full flashed, and he can't push up with the P250, but I think that was a blessing because MauVe isn't even going to be near him when he's all the way pushed up trying to pre-fire barrels. He gets him for 80% of his HP, and Marcus Higgins coming out of the pool, going to be peeking one. If he takes out the Toxic Barrels player, then he has a little bit more of a chance because he has full armor, so if he picks up the M4, then he can get some engagements. Looks at the light, maybe thinks it was a CT. There ain't no CT there. It's just VODs and MauVe on the site holding down this bomb. Marcus gonna have to clear the corner, just sees the edge of VODs' shoulder up there, and he dinks them both. Both of them are dinked for a lot of their HP, but they just can't finish them off with the P250s, and AbsoluteStuds with 4 rounds against MauVe in the semifinals. And might I remind you that this is a best of 5 series rather than the best of 3 series that we had casted previously. And so best of 5s are a lot more grueling if you get to those overtime matches, and you just have to clutch every single round of every map that you play, and there's a more diverse map pool this time. So if you're not practicing on literally every single map in Wingman, like Rialto, Lake, you can never be too sure as to what map either team is going to pick.
We get a boost here from the SG, but Volty spots it, and he's trying to get a jumping SG kill, but he gets knocked down to just 8% of his HP, and that's going to be deadly as Marcus Higgins, the only one with HP, peaks, and he dies rather fast to Volty with a good AK spray. Now Braden Higgins, the last one left, 8 HP, little chance unless he can get this instant headshot. Misses both of the shots for the headshot position. Volty spraying through the wood, peeks out wide barrels, but Milorad's going to have to finish him off here with the running M4 spray. He had no chance, and MauVe losing 5-0 on this first overpass map, but you can never be too sure. Because when you're starting on T side and the other team just sets up in the wrong positions that you're not prepared for, it's a little bit hard to take them out as well as you want to, but 5-0 is still a very significant lead, and AbsoluteStuds has to win 3 games right off the bat in order to just shut them down, but MauVe, they made it this far. They've put up plenty of a fight. Marcus Higgins losing the aim duel to Milorad, not even dealing that much damage, but gets a quick headshot. Now Braden Higgins pushing out against his SG, gets him with the headshot, and Volty standing out in the open with the SG, trying to get the quick headshots, but he's underestimating MauVe. They win this first round against AbsoluteStuds, and it's about time. Because they've been rushing that site, trying to find aim duels, and they just found a fair one, as the CTs never engage directly, or as little as they want to. They always flank behind a smoke. You saw it in Volty's hiding in the smoke, and then peeking out when they started spraying. They don't want to go for those equal engagements. I'm not too sure if it's because they know that they'll lose them, but Marcus Higgins with Galil pushing out takes him out. Almost no damage being dealt against him, even with that Galil. Has the bullets to back it up, but the AK now is to recover. Braden Higgins left on a 1v2. He has the AK, he has the nades. Milorad's stuck in the barrels. He's peeking out construction, which is leaving the water completely open, and he's clearing every single angle as slowly as he can. Volty playing the exact same position as he did last time, a little bit more to the left. This AK spray just not doing it, as he missed all of the shots on Milorad, because he was just running around back and forth, making it hell on earth for him to be hit. Both of these Ts actually have 2 kills, which is good for just one round one, as it means that they've gotten kills previously, and yet they've still not been able to secure that bomb site, and they're losing 6-1 so far. We'll see if they can actually execute the site this time around. It's the last round before the half. Braden Higgins with the smoke trying to set up. This MP5 does a very low amount of damage against armored opponents. You see it right here, just almost dealing nothing against Milorad as he pushed his whole body up, rushed that position with the M4. Marcus Higgins with the AK. Let's see if he can do some more work. No, the M4 just edges him out on the right side of the sandbags. It is 7-1 for AbsoluteStuds at the beginning of this first map. We'll see you in around 1 minute and 50 seconds.
Sunshine every day. Pick up any day.
And I remember previously AbsoluteStuds talked about in the chat once that they watched the demos back to see the different strats that teams use to, well, their positioning on site, their positioning when they're attacking a site. And I'm assuming that they probably did a lot for Overpass, as they've picked it quite a lot compared to other teams, and I think MauVe's picked it. That's why Lake OP banned it when they were facing them, but Milorad and this teammate getting shredded as they walked out, just walking out in the open against both of these CTs who happened to be positioned right where they wanted to be against both of these Ts. They just ran out with their heads completely visible, and we see the CT sometimes playing one heaven, one toxic barrels, you know, the right side positioning, but that was good positioning for where they were trying to go, and Volti and Milorad now with double deagles, and we'll see that previously Rise, I believe, was really good with the deagles. They were able to get at least 1 kill per round with them, even on the eco rounds, but Marcus Higgins playing a deep position with the scout, not playing as deep as he would like to be, but Volti and Milorad still being able to isolate one of these players. They catch visual of one, and Heaven gets a headshot. Can he get the second one? Yes, he can! Volti getting 2 deagle headshots. As I was saying, some people are just good with the deagle, and he just gets quick one deags against both of those CTs, both of the players on MauVe, dropping to that deagle. He pre-aimed both of the positions that he thought they were coming in, and that double positioning just not working out. The scout didn't even get a shot off on him, didn't even get damage off. Now AbsoluteStuds on match point against both of these players. Braden and Marcus Higgins rushing the lower position, gets 1 pick, and that AK might drop to an MP9, but both of these CTs really low HP. For the peak that they did, though, it's a surprise that they're even alive, but Volti down to just 2 HP. Anything could kill him at this point, and he has to hard hold this position down in the water, waiting for one of these CTs to get ever so impatient. Like Wingman is a treat to do, as why not rush if you only have a UMP to spare, but it might cost them the round here. Is Braden Higgins. Once again, he's the only one holding the site here, but they decide to retreat. MauVe double stacking the site now. Braden Higgins pre-firing that position, and he's trying to get the AK at the end of the round, and they manage to get it just as the round ends. And now AbsoluteStuds, without their AK and without, you know, a togetherness buy, they only have $2,000 and $3,800. Is going to be more dire than they would like to be, but he buys his teammate, and he's going to buy himself some budget weapon as well. Now both these CTs have to contest against another AK, which is full armored. They're just going full dedication. This is like a pistol round strat, where you buy your teammate a pistol, and then you just buy yourself whatever the hell next, because you don't have enough money to buy pretty much anything. They molly the construction area, hoping that somebody's going to be there, but they don't even know anyways, because he can't run out in the first place. Milorad and Volti might be trying to go for a boost here, but doesn't look like it. They're just trying to get 1 pick to open up onto the site with. Braden and Marcus not knowing which position to actually hold, as the T's haven't overly dedicated to either one. They keep smoking off wherever the hell they think they might be coming from. I think Marcus might have seen him through the smoke there. I'm not too sure. No, it doesn't look like it. Volti still in construction. Now he takes out Braden. Now it's just a 1v2. Marcus has to contend against both these players. Sees him just at the edge of the smoke, but he gets him with the AK from construction. Not even the guy in the lower tunnels. And AbsoluteStuds wins the first map of Overpass. We're going to be going into the second map of this best out of 5. Stay tuned.
Those long-range guns, they might be a fan of that. Whoa! That was a good headshot, Nathaniel, just catching him. Oh. He might go for this ninja defuse. Oh, he has the flash. But the T's aren't peeking into the flash, so they can just spray right through. That's a 10-second defuse. He throws that second flash. He almost has no chance. These AKs are just missing him. He's gonna get the ninja defuse.
It's the second map in the ever so classic Inferno. Again, the map where teams tend to die. Although the best of 5 tends to be the map where it's just on the route to them dying, and MauVe starting on the T side as per usual. AbsoluteStuds setting up a little bit late, and Milorad pays for it, walking into the arch side about 3 to 5 seconds late and letting both of these Ts run out and kill him almost instantly. Marcus Higgins dodging all of these USP shots. Volti hit those 2 Wandigs earlier, but he can't seem to hit any of these USP shots. Braden Higgins just running out of his view, and he only has 12 bullets left. He drained 3 magazines worth. Both those chickens are doing the running man, just making fun of him, taunting him, because he's doing the running man with that USP. He only has 12 bullets left. He hasn't shot a single bullet. Now he's shooting 10. He only has 10 left in his clip. Gets Braden. Let's see if Marcus peeks. No, he doesn't peek. Just enough for Volti to headshot him, and MauVe winning the pistol round on the T side. The pit position is really overpowered if you can deke behind those pillars, but you also have to have the aim to back it up, and Volti just not having it that time. But we'll see if he buys a deagle this round. Yet he's got the deagle in his hands, and we like to see it because we had those 2 headshots while he was clearing his sight. He has the head glitching position here, misses the first deagle, gets the second one. Let's see if he can get Braden. No, his teammate gets him from behind. Now it's just a 1v1. He's bumped down to 22% of his HP. Marcus trying to deke around him, going into graveyard. He hears him going there. That's a bad position for Marcus to be in because he can only see his head. Is Volti going to hit it? No, he can't. Marcus Higgins gets him with the MP5, jumping down into the pit area, and MauVe winning the second round, shutting down that eco round with their anti-eco buy. He gets to keep the MP5, although I think that's a little consolidation, as you see how little damage it did against the deagle. He had to change up positions. Couldn't even 1v1 him in the pit. But now Volti has that M4. He's able to set up in that position, but both of them are going arch side. That's their favorite position. They went their pistol round. Now both of these CTs have to assume that they're going here now. But Volti can't over-dedicate, but he sees that smoke, trying to spray through it, gets Marcus for most of his HP, and he gets Marcus and Brayton through the smoke there. Now he's throwing a smoke of his own, flashing, preventing them from pushing up way too far, and now they have to reposition once again, as that archway push isn't going to work out. But they might over-dedicate as well. Marcus still in that cubby hole, waiting for one of these CTs to think that they're both going from the lane side, although if Braden falls on the other side with the bomb, yeah, there we go. The bomb's dropped on the other side in lane. Now Milorad and Volti have something to defend. This MP5 has to find some kills fast. Gets the UMP, but Volti with the quick trade, walking out of pit, finding him through the cubbyhole area, and AbsoluteStuds picking up the post anti-eco round. And now Volti and Milorad with the funds and the guns and the nades and the plays. And both of the players on MauVe have to come up with something. They're not throwing any of their smokes yet so far, as these executions have been smokeless and they've been rather stratless. They just seem to go on split pushes or non-split pushes. That's as deep as it gets. And Volti holding from pit, waiting for both of these players to come. Marcus holding pit as well, but there's still a player in library, and Milorad is trying to get some sound cues here, but he walked right past him. He might peek once he knows that bomb's coming. He's making his way around. One of the T's falls, but both of the kills are from Volti. He caught out both of them as they were walking out, and Milorad didn't even have to do anything. Volti holding the whole site by himself from the pit area, and MauVe losing 2 rounds in a row, trying a split push. Now Braden and Marcus reduced down to pistols. Milorad and Volti reduced down to lenient positions. They're holding all the way back, not letting either of these Ts get an easy kill on them. They have to push through the gauntlet to get to them. But Milorad falls down on the other side of the map with that CZ75. Now the Deagle and the CZ in the exact same position. They could get a trade. They just couldn't see Volti as his shoulder was in the way, and he gets both of them just with a little bit of HP to spare, and he has just enough armor to get it. And the Deagle not doing enough damage, as he only hit the shoulder or the arm, not even the head, which in pit you can only see about 2 things, but the hitboxes, not too generous, or the aim, or the spread, or the inaccuracy, or anything with the Deagle, rather, which is why it's so good to see those quick headshots from Volti, but the SG not going for the headshots, and that was just a trade on opposite sides of the map, and it's a 1v1 with Volti and Braden. And Braden, the lesser of the 2 Ts, but only by 1 kill. He's trying to find Volti out with the SG, and he can't find the headshot, but the AK certainly can. He bumps out for about a second and takes out the MauVe player with the AK. Volti and Milhorad now stacked up with their rifles against both of these MauVe players, and while they may be discussing with each other in the chat, it's only distracting both of these Ts from getting an early position onto the site. And they have a very disjointed buy. One person with a Galil in full armor and another man with nothing, but it works out. Milhorad getting taken out. Over on the arch side, and Marcus facing Volti once again, but he's in that pit area, and he gets a quick headshot as that guy's running out into Archway. Now his teammate with no armor taking up that M4. Down in library side, he's peeking against the AK. That's a bad idea. Volti getting both of them once again. As soon as Milhorad falls down, they just feel like they can run towards the site, but Volti holding it from pit every single round and getting them both. And 5 rounds for AbsoluteStuds against MauVe's 2, and now they're bringing out the big gun. Just one singular big gun as they have one op on Braden's side. Let's see if he can get some picks with it. Milhorad not doing well on this arch side. He overpeaks it most of the time, but now he's retreating, knowing that he's going to get picked if he overdedicates once again. And Marcus, the only one on lane side, he has the bomb. We've seen both of them die in this exact same position, and then the last remaining T has to recover it off of that exact same position. But Milhorad holding from side, he might be the first visual of Volti. Distracting him, shooting at Braden. That might have been a distraction. Marcus with his back to the site. Both of these CTs. Milhorad definitely does not know where to look, but Volti only has one position, really. He's repositioning to get Marcus. Good trade. Now it's just a 1v1. Milhorad versus Braden. The op's pushing. He had a flash in his hand, but they missed the op shot. Marcus, Braden doing some circles, and he gets him with the Glock as he's looking the wrong way. Just a mess on the site, but the op switched to the Glock, and they got him. And Volti with 12 kills at the half, carrying AbsoluteStuds to 5 rounds against MauVe's 3.
Sunshine every day. Pick up any day. And although both players on MauVe might be trailing by 2 match points, they're able to pick both of their engagements now as Volti is stuck out of that pit position. Now he has to rush the pit position, which might be a little bit more beneficial for both of these CTs, but Volti, still the dominant one in this game, finding all of their heads, and the Glock just seeing visual on him, gets him from the cubby hole, but Marcus gets the edge on him. Now Milhorad, the last one left remaining, has to rush this cubby area with the Glock. Can't find his head. Marcus finding it first, and MauVe with 4 rounds against AbsoluteStuds, 5 winning the pistol round, being able to buy better SMGs than the Ts, but they don't quite get enough to buy rifles. We have 1 shotgun coming from Marcus. The deadly thing about that shotgun is that if you have to retake and 1 player's in pit, you're not going to be doing a lot of damage. In fact, you almost do almost none to either of those Ts, holding from a long position, either in apps or pit. It's a very bad gun for retake, so you have to rely on them both hitting you at the exact same position. Like right now he's holding apartments. He has to make sure that both of those Ts actually go apartments so that his shotgun does some work. It looks like Milhorad and Volti, or at least Milhorad, is going to be facing this shotgun as long as it doesn't move. Braden getting an engagement, though, against Milhorad as he's pushing out. Looks like Volti's the one pushing up Abs, and that Deagle missing some of its shots, but it still connects against that shotgun. And like I said, the shotgun's a really risky buy. Now it's just in the hands of Volti. The Deagle getting them off. He's complaining that he can go there, but through the limited amount of places that you can actually go in the map, Milorad getting him out with the Deagle, catching that UMP, over-peeking over the hedge, the hay barrel, whatever you want to call it, AbsoluteStuds with 6 rounds. They lose the eco round against both of these Ts as they pushed up way too far up onto the Ts. They pushed hay barrel and they pushed apartments, which is something that you don't want to do. Both of the players on AbsoluteStuds held all the way back in the previous rounds to make sure that they weren't getting killed. Braden Higgins getting a lot of damage against Milorad, and Volti's the only one left that can actually do some real damage and not die at the same time, pulling back, not getting any visual. He's resorting to a smoke, throwing a smoke down balcony, throwing some flashes. He's setting up an attack here. Both of these CTs know exactly where it is, but only one can actually contest it immediately, throwing a molly down on the site. Braden Higgins just below him, and let's see if he does a jumping peek here. Oh, he's looking through the smoke. He's going the safe area. He's looking down apartment side, but he gets shot from the hut area. And Brain and Marcus getting a kill each against both of these AbsoluteStuds player. They were blind as soon as they walked out into the site, and they didn't know where either of the CTs were. No visuals on them as they kept moving throughout the site. And that's something that MauVe and AbsoluteStuds have slightly different. MauVe likes to move a lot. On the CT side, they like to rotate a lot, which is good for 5v5s, but in Wingman, it's a little bit risky, because if you get, again, intel on Milorad pushing down mid, now Marcus Higgins is completely pulling back into library, but he can't move around in that position. He has to dedicate to site. Fake bomb plant, Milorad peeking out the left side, and he edges out Marcus Higgins, walking out of library. Again, the fake plant baiting them out of their positions, and they're walking out into the open against all of these guns that the Ts have. AbsoluteStuds with an SG, Milorad with the Deagle, but I don't think he's going to stay with that one. No, he's pulling out the big rifles. We have an MP5, low damage output. I think it's the second worst SMG that you can buy on any of the sides. Bison taking the cake for that one, but Marcus again pushed up all the way. Let's see if he can do this. Volti getting a quick headshot, preparing for that push, and now it's just Braden in the 1v1. Looks like he's going to be aggressively holding this apartment's position. This SG expecting it. He overpeaks it, but the SG, quick headshot. AbsoluteStuds on match point again against MauVe.
It's all just going wrong for the CTs. No matter if they push up or if they fall back, once the bomb gets put down or once they push up against both of the Ts, they just seem to lose every single round afterwards. Negev coming out from Braden. That's what we like to see. High rate of fire, high magazine. They can just hold down a position. And Volti getting the quick headshot against Braden. Couldn't even fire his Negev for 1 second. And AbsoluteStuds with the second win of this best of 5. All they have to do is win one more round of this best of 5 to win this entire thing. But MauVe not giving up just yet. Those long-range guns, they might be a fan of that. Whoa! That was a good headshot. Nathaniel just catching him. Oh. He might go for this ninja defuse. Oh, he has the flash. But the Ts aren't peeking into the flash, so they can just spray right through. That's a 10-second defuse. He throws that second flash. He almost has no chance. These AKs are just missing him. He's gonna get the ninja defuse.
And although AbsoluteStuds seems to be dominating this best of 5, MauVe still contesting most of these maps. It's not a blowout. They're still in this game. They just have to find their footing against AbsoluteStuds, who are once again starting on the CT side, and MauVe gonna have to bash their head against the nuke wall here as Braden Higgins running down window side, trying to find either of these CTs. One's in scaffolding and one's in ramp. He gets a quick headshot against the one in scaffolding. This last one on ramp gets taken out by both of the players. They get the trade in both these CTs, not expecting the fast rush, and I think Nuke has developed into my favorite wingman map for how fast it is and for how diverse all of the positioning is. I mean, it's only one piece of scaffolding, one ramp, and one other ramp, bomb site ramp and CT side ramp, but it's still a fairly solid wingman map, and by accident as well. Volty with the deagle. Let's see if he can do some work. No! He gets shut down as soon as he fires his first shot. MauVe with the quick round win against AbsoluteStuds. Again, Nuke way too fast for some of the teams in the beginning. They have to adapt to it as they come along. Because if you get an effective CT side, or rather an effective T side that can rush you really fast and take you by surprise, like MauVe is doing right now, just running fast with both of these rifles now, and Volty sticking with the Force Buy. They don't have enough money to buy in the previous rounds. Both of the T's getting quick picks once again. MauVe with 3 rounds against AbsoluteStuds. They're almost getting me at a loss for words, but not yet, because they haven't won enough rounds for me to just lose my mind. Neither of them have died, and one of them has an assist. We got teamwork. We got no deaths on either of the T side. AbsoluteStuds not preparing for either of these fast rushes, but it seems like they're slowly adapting. They have a FAMAS, and they're trying to set up some smokes, but the T's already peeking them now and again. Now they have their, I think, first kill of the CT side, and Braden Higgins getting the quick trade. The SG trying to find its target, but Volty gets the response for AbsoluteStuds, winning the first round of their nuke side. And the T's, that might have just been... I think they really caught them off guard on the T side here. They've been peaking positions that they don't know that they can get to that fast, and no matter how much you can aim good, as long as you don't have your gun out, I think you're pretty screwed on that behalf. And Volty with both of the kills on the CT side. Marcus running out fast, and the SG not getting the spray, but he still gets the kill eventually. And Braden, now he knows that both of them are on ramp side, but Volty getting the kill once again. 4 kills for AbsoluteStuds, dominating the CT side, and Milorad still sucking a lot of the damage from the T's as they're focusing on the wrong person, obviously, as they're rushing out onto the ramp. But as long as they can peek window and not die, they have a chance. Throwing that flash immediately, psyching out the T's. They hear the flash. They're intimidated. At least I think that's what that's supposed to be, mauling off single doors, which is where both of these T's were trying to go, but they open that door, and this is the sniping spot. If you go in this little window, you can get sniped almost instantly, and if Volty over-peeks this, he's just going to die, like the rest of them do. And Marcus peeking out full wide in the single doors, and while he might have died, he got one of them down to 30% of their HP, but it was Milorad, which is not the one that you want to knock down in this case, as Volty's on a storm, on a spree. He has the SG. Braden getting him with the P90 long range. He might be able to get Volty here, but he gets him first. The SG just easing him out, as Milorad was... Of course he's going to die from that P90 from that range, but the other player, hell no, he ain't dying from that. Now AbsoluteStuds now tied up the game. They responded quick with 3 rounds after MauVe won their 3. And now double negevs from MauVe. They're just going for incognito strats here. They're revealing their strat in the chat. They got a double negev set up, and although it might have been misconstrued for a racial slur, they're still getting the kill. Milorad pushing out onto the site. Now it's just Volty, and he dies from the negev as well. MauVe with 4 rounds, and they're in the lead. And they're in a consistent lead as well. They respawn back from AbsoluteStuds 3-1 rounds, and they're sticking with the negevs, which is a good strat for Nuke. You open the door, you get that little sniper window, and you just be able to snipe them with the negev instead. You don't even need an op. Although, if Volty catches them out or even pre-fires them, then their negevs are a little bit less useful. Milorad pushing up window side, but he just hasn't peeked it yet. Now he's peeking it, but gets shredded by both of the negevs at the same time. But Volty surviving with no damage dealt against him, finding out this negev, and he gets both of them. The score is tied at the half, and MauVe gets to survive with 4 rounds and flipping over to the CT side. If AbsoluteStuds doesn't rush that round like the T's have this time, then they're going to be in for a treat.
Every day, every day.
Say my name and you can say with honor. Leave your tickets reading, yeah, I'm gonna. Say my name and you can say with honor. So you should undergo and call your mama. Say my name and with honor. Leave your tickets, I'm gonna. Say my name and with honor. So you should undergo and call your mama. Say my name and you can say with honor. Leave your tickets reading, yeah, I'm gonna. Say my name and you can say with honor. So you should undergo and call your mama. Say my name and you can say with honor. Leave your tickets reading, yeah, I'm gonna. Say my name and you can say with honor. So you should undergo and call your mama.
I have not seen Negevs used this well in any of the games, really. Negevs are usually a meme buy, and you don't really see them used all that effectively, but they just shredded through both of those players. They're not even buying armor on the CT side. One nade and one dualies pair? What are they doing? But AbsoluteStuds, I don't even think they can contest against a dualie if it gets him like that. Volty's dropping from the dualies. That's a instant headshot, if I've ever seen one, milliseconds away from dying, and this dualies pair dreading through both of them. AbsoluteStuds dying from dualies with no, well, at least body armor from Marcus Higgins, so his teammate bought him the dualies and he just bought a nade himself, and they're going for a Negev buy. MauVe going for the incognito buys. That's what we like to see, breaking the normal. Now Volty with the deagle. I don't know if you can beat this as you're just standing still, and he buys a Bison on his side, which is statistically the worst SMG that money can buy. The Deagle not getting the Negev, he pre-fires it and counter-strafes, and instantly headshots him. Now Milorad in a 1v2, but down to a 1v1 against this Bison, and he has the Negev in his hands, just scoping out the Bison, but he's just running around him, but Milorad with the quick Deagle shot. Now it's just a eco response. Both of these CTs bought incognito weapons and didn't know how to use them, and Negev and a Bison against a Deagle and a Glock, and Milorad clutching out the last round for his team. And although he had 2 or 1 kills at the half, he was still able to recover on his side of things. Now he has the Negev against both of these CTs, who are down to normal guns. Once again, Volty catching out one of them on close window, and he's smoking out the site to make sure that he can plant in safety. Marcus Higgins at the top of the ramp area, scoping out one of the T's, hoping that they peek where he wants them to. He had the shot there, but he didn't take it. Now he's going to pay for it, missing the second shot, and now they know exactly where to peek. Right side ramp, or at least his right side. They plant a bomb in the smoke, and AbsoluteStuds now in a post-plant position on both sides, and he's going to have to isolate one of them in order to have even a chance to retake this site. And I think, personally, at least, I want to take out Volty first, but he doesn't know where he is. Trying to get a 360 scout shot, but it's not working in AbsoluteStuds with 6 rounds against MauVe's 5. And they have the economy to just ramp up the pressure on them, but Braden Higgins and Marcus Higgins not giving up so far. They have the scout and the... I thought that was Dooley for a second, but it's just a Zeus. So they're getting a little bit more normal with their buys, but it's still disjointed. They don't have enough to buy rifles. They're just forcing up, hoping that the T's are going to fall to their scant buys here. Brandon Higgins peeking the stairs. I don't know what Milorad was looking at there. He was rushing the stairs adjacent to him, and he fell for it as well. Marcus opening and closing the door rapidly, but the AK almost gets him, but he gets the Zeus kill against Volty. Appropriate name for Volty in that case, and MauVe with the Zeus kill. And a kill against an Oblivious player, getting the 6th round, and this best of 5 is dissolving into chaos slowly, but they're still buying normal guns, an SG and a UMP. Because if MauVe wins this map, it's going to be almost impossible to predict what the strats are going to be. The scout peeking the wrong side of the window. He just pushed all the way over to the left, and even when he knew where he was, he didn't even adjust his aim over to the left. MauVe losing that round, and now they're 2 rounds away from losing this best of 5, but I think they're just trying to go for desperation buys at this point. One person saved up for a rifle, and Marcus Higgins still, with the more kills, buying the less powerful gun. We've seen that countless times before. The player with the less kills buys the better gun. Volti going over to the left side, right side, and then down the middle with the SG kill. And once again, they smoke off the bomb site so that the scout can't get him. And it misses as well. He doesn't even get the bomb planter. Now, missing all of his scout shots. He's not hitting one of these scout shots on any of the T's. Now he gets one. Milorad on the left side of the silo. And he catches him out in the open with the headshot, but he almost gets that headshot against Volti as well. But the shot goes right into the floor. Now AbsoluteStuds 1 round away from facing for the team in the finals, but MauVe still could force an overtime. They only have to win 2 of these rounds. And again, a scout coming from Marcus, which isn't his best gun, to be quite honest, but he got 1 kill with it against Milorad out in the open. And Volti and his teammate with the SG catches one jumping into the window. Now it's just a 1v1 as he takes out Volti, aggressively rushing, but Milorad clutches the last round. And AbsoluteStuds is going to be facing for the team in the finals in a couple weeks, maybe even tomorrow. I do not know. Volti with 15 kills, Milorad with 4, Marcus Higgins with Braden, and 11 with 7. And MauVe being knocked out of the tournament, not being able to buy $100, but they have made it through 50 teams, grounded out all this way. We'd like to send our appreciation to them and AbsoluteStuds, although unknown to me, definitely not unknown to the rest of the tournament. Once again, for the team versus AbsoluteStuds in the final.